Good afternoon or morning, and thank you for visiting my website. I think one of the issues I'd like you to talk about is the cost of government, or runaway cost of government. And I'd like to bring it up because sometimes there's two sides, and you can have statistics sometimes basically explain or prove your point depending on what statistics we use. It's interesting, what I'm going to copy is there was an article, an opinion piece by the state newspaper on May 27, 2008 that kind of goes to this, and we'll kind of envision it. But I think I'd like to give you an example first. Let's say there's a married couple and they both earn good incomes of, we'll say, $50,000 apiece a year. So of that $100,000 they earn as a couple, they're very, very fiscally conservative, and they actually save 10% or $10,000, and they spend $90,000 a year. Most of us would say that was a conservative budget. Now, all of a sudden, several years go by, and one of the partners loses their job and loses that income. Now, not to go in debt, because they are fiscally responsible, somehow they manage to survive on $50,000 a year. I know that may be a lot to some, but we're just as an example. So they survive on that $50,000 a year for a year or two without going into debt. They've cut themselves way back, and they probably ride bicycles to work. But after 2 years, that person recaptures their job and that income. Now they're again making the $100,000, they're again saving $10,000. They've again managed not to get into debt. Now statistically, I can prove several points. I can prove statistically that they have not changed their spending habits one iota. But statistically, I can also say that they've changed their habits and they're actually spending twice as much as they were. And both statements would be correct. Both statements would be correct, because it depends on what year I want to start my statistical base. In 1995, the Republicans took over the House of Representatives in South Carolina. If you use that as a starting point between 1995 and the year 2008, state government has grown by 2.8%, well within inflation and well within population growth. However, you know, when the video poker money and some of these other monies went away, right before Governor Sanford got into office, there were shortfalls. Department of Natural Resources lost probably 40 to 50% of their budget. When they did, there was angst and their pain with these agencies. But the Republican House, and I believe the Senate, chose not to raise your taxes. They lived within their means, much like that couple did. Now, when the money's improved and the economy went forward, then what you saw was, you saw some of these agencies, some of these budgets having their budgets restored. So that is not necessarily runaway government, runaway control. You also have to realize that whether we want it or not, the state budget increases by several percentage points a year anyway, in that we have obligations for increased costs of health care, increased costs of pensions, increased costs of salaries to our police, and we've got other issues that we do want to do, which is like more police and more highway patrol, etc. So when you start to look at statistics and people point out statistics, I'd ask you, listen, think, ask some questions, but if you really think we're not doing the legitimate right thing for you, call me or call your representative, senator, and ask them his spin on how we are spending the money. And does that mean that we are not doing things that maybe we could do better and we're not having wasteful spending? And the answer is, I didn't say that. We do have wasteful spending and we do have some other things. But I will tell you statistically, I'd be more than happy to answer it. And I think in the first 4 years of my office, we eliminated over about $700 to $800 million worth of your taxes. So again, thank you for hearing me. Hope you got a different view of government. Please call me, and thank you again for visiting my website. Y'all have a good day.